Hello everyone, this is Overdue back again with another deck report. You might be wondering what this is. This is the Oracle deck, which I will review right after this video. So stay tuned for that. And I know this is going to be a bit of a long video. I haven't done a deck report in quite some time. It's been at least a week and a half, 2 weeks, I don't know. I apologize for not keeping you more updated. So there's going to be a bit to talk about. It may be a bit of a longer video, but stick around. I'm going to be talking about some new alternatives to Kickstarter later on. A whole bunch of decks. Let's talk about Kickstarter right now. First of all, there's been some new decks. One just started yesterday. Is from Collectible Playing Cards, and it's the Physique. It's a USPC deck, but it's not bicycle branded, which is new for Collectible Playing Cards, because they usually do bicycle branded, unless they're going to do a limited bicycle branded deck. And it's all about the Physique. And the court cards feature some of those physiques, male and female physiques, topless physiques. You don't get to see the whole body, just the top. But it's pretty nice nonetheless. And the back design's pretty cool. And they are nearly halfway funded, so no doubt it's going to get funded. Their other deck that they had on there, the Bicycle Starlight, it's still got another 15 days left. Why they are running simultaneous campaigns at the same time, I will not understand. Especially since they got about 5 decks right now that I'm waiting for. That includes the Elegance, I believe, or Excellence, one of the two. I can't recall which one exactly, because they're both very similar. There is the Bicycle Thorn. There is the Killer Clowns, which is on the way apparently. And there is the Pyromaniac Fire and Ice. And then they got these two right now. And I think there's one more, but I can't recall. It's ridiculous. When they got so many cards. There's 2 on their website. 2 campaigns on Kickstarter that have been funded, and we're not getting these cards. We haven't gotten them yet. So, and they're continuing to put more out there on Kickstarter. It's ridiculous. Anyways, 15 days left in the Starlight. It is funded. I wonder how much that had to do with the fact that they put out the Bicycle Thorn and the Bicycle Pyromaniac Fire and Ice as add-ons to that campaign, because it was going a little bit slow before that. And it makes me wonder if people really like this design that much. Anyways, another deck that's new, which is related to Collectible Playing Cards as well, is the Bicycle Classic Monsters Playing Cards, which features a lot of movie monsters on it, like Elvira and Frankenstein and whatnot. Not something that hasn't been done before, but the faces are grayish colors. I believe spades and clubs have darker grays, while hearts and diamonds have lighter grays, and I think there's even custom suits. Let me check. Oh, and the back design is that. It's basically black with an eye or something in the center, which is just weird. And I'll show you. If you can see, there is King of Diamonds and some more cards. So yeah, it definitely appears that the pips are all custom. The face is all the same color. There is a little difference between the colors of the reds and the blacks. Aces seem to be darker color. The Jokers don't really fit with the theme. They look like clowns. I mean, they are clowns. They look like an insane clown posse. I'm not sure how that fits with classic monsters. It doesn't really fit. Looks like artwork from the Killer Clowns deck that they decided to use again. And this is being put out by Classic Playing Cards, which is the son of Mike from Collectible Playing Cards, apparently. So that's another deck being put out by the same people, and it's ridiculous. The Demon deck, by the way, funded. There's still 11 days left to pick that one up. It's definitely not USB-C. Definitely some issues with that one because they were only looking for a couple of bucks for international shipping, which is not realistic, and is a red flag to me personally. I would not recommend it. Then there's this one, Memento, which looks very beautiful. Still not funded. They are at almost a third of the way funded. They're looking for £12,000. But it is two decks, a white deck and a black deck, and they look very nice. They were really well done. The court cards are beautiful, and I recommend checking that one out for sure. The Royal Dinosaur playing cards, which I may have mentioned before, it has dinosaur heads on the court cards, which look really cartoony and weird. That one is funded, surprisingly, and there's still lots of time to pick it up. It's being put up by the same guy who previously did the House of Cards playing cards. That was cancelled because it was a major trademark issue, being based off the House of Cards, so obviously. And this is not a whole lot better than the other one, and still features too much words and even more words on the back design than the other one. There shouldn't be any words on the back design, really. Then there is this Voyager playing cards, which is Les Miley's in blue and also in red now. Again, wow. Let me try to focus that better. Again, it's the same thing as the previous deck, except it's now available in red as well as blue. And it's not going to be USB-C anymore. It's going to be by the Expert Playing Card Company or Legends Playing Card Company, whatever, same difference. And it's getting there. It's going to be funded, without a doubt, I think. They're more than halfway there. They're about 65-70% there, so should get funded. But again, fairly standard. I wish they would customize the code cards or something, because otherwise it's basically just a standard deck of cards. Then there's the Heretic, which I did a review on a prototype that I got from Lorenzo Gazziotti. Very well funded, almost 200% funded. They have unlocked the Noctis deck, which is a dark colored deck, while the original was the Lux, which was a light colored deck. And I definitely recommend that one. Then there is the Bicycle Monster Montage playing cards, which has 7 days left and is just over a quarter of the way funded. It's not going to make it, I don't think. It would need a serious amount of help to get funded at this rate. And it's the second time around, and it's still not doing any better. The creator is going to let it go until it ends instead of canceling it, but it doesn't look like it's going to make it. Just a little bit too cartoony, I guess. I don't know. Not serious enough. That's why I have to question whether the Classic Monsters deck is going to make it or not, because I've seen monster decks before and they usually don't do very good, but the Monsters deck is already almost halfway funded, and it is half the amount of the Monster Montage deck. Actually, a lot less than half the amount. $16,000 for the Bicycle Monster Montage. The Bicycle Classic Monsters deck is looking for $7,500, so it's less than half of the amount. But then again, they can take that because they own collectibleplayingcards.com. They're going to sell them anyway. They can absorb the expenses. Then, of course, there is the Glitch playing cards, which is well, you can't really tell there, but it's glitchy. It's getting there. It might get funded. 15 days left, and they need about $5,000 more. Don't know if it's going to make it, but we'll see. That's actually quite a bit, so might not make it. It's too weird of a deck. It's hard on the eyes. Because it just got discolorations and glitches all over it. Then there is the Derby playing cards. It's going to be USB-C printed. It is a combination of roller derby, tattoos, and playing cards. And 26 days left. It's almost a third of the way there, looking for $15,000. Here's some of the cards. It is colorful. Each card has different artwork. Let's see if I can find the back design for you. The girl's got a lot of tattoos. The artist, you know, her legs and everything. Weird. Well, here's the back design anyway. If you can see it, I apologize. There we go. It's a little bit hard to make out. It is a one-way design just because of coloring, but it's still mirror imaged, so it's kind of interesting. The Morse code playing cards. So I mean, I don't know if that one's gonna make it or not. It's almost a third of the way. It's still lots of time, but it's going really slow. The Morse code playing cards, not gonna make it. 6 days left. They're still sitting at $680 out of $10,000. Ouch. Not good at all. Then there's the bicycle. Funny or Funi, however you pronounce that deck. Still, it's slow to get funding, but it might get there. Basically, it's inspired by a South African game called Funi, which has been a part of South African culture for 140 years. It means water in the Tamil language, and it's a popular trick-taking card game that originated in South Africa. The cards are pretty colorful. As you can see, very colorful. Hopefully you can see something that I'm showing you. There's your back design, very colorful, interesting, and I believe there is, you might not be able to see those very clearly. I believe there is a second one that is even more colorful. But that's that. It's pretty interesting. It is a little bit slow. Looking for 12,000 euros, and they're currently at almost 2,000, but they still have almost a month to go. The Muertos playing cards, Day of the Dead playing cards, extremely well funded, almost at $90,000 out of a $13,000 goal with 13 days left. They're looking to hit $100,000, and they will have a stretch goal, which they're still trying to determine what that is when they do hit $100,000. In the meantime, though, whoops, this was unlocked. The Morning Gold. It's a white and gold version of the original black and gold version, which is awesome. I like it. They've got dice, they've got chips, wooden poker chips, which I don't think I've seen before, or at least you don't see very often, and it's definitely different. Though I have to question why it costs $10 to ship out a set of 5 poker chips to people who've already pledged for other stuff. That's a little bit questionable to me. Then of course there's the Hawaiian playing cards by Home Run Games. Those ones, there's 3 different boxes for the same deck, which is a little bit ridiculous. There's a standard, the standard one, which is unbranded. It says Hawaiian on top. There's the Bicycle Hawaiian. And then there is a limited edition one, which is pretty cool looking, but costs twice as much, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. 53 hours in this one that's left. 53 hours left. They're $73 over their goal. That's not a whole lot, so if they lose a couple of people due to credit card issues, they might be screwed. But I'm sure they can afford to take a little hit. Another deck to tell you about is Traps and Treasures. It can be used as a standard deck of cards, but it's more for storytelling purposes with similar to other decks. You can probably guess with the name Traps and Treasures. Then there is the Kingdoms of a New World. That's doing really well. 13 days left. That was just basically a opportunity to pick up the decks if you missed out the first time, or perhaps they were running out of money and they needed more money, or they wanted to make more money. Either way, I don't like it. It reeks And I think they said delivered the first campaign before launching another campaign for the exact same thing. Then there's the Kingdoms of Urden playing cards, which not doing very well. They're still have not hit their $2,500 goal, and they've been sitting at less than $2,000, around $1,500 for weeks now. 20 days left. Still a question of whether or not it's going to get funded, even though it needs less than $1,000. This is a relaunch too. It's not the first time they've done it. Last time they were looking for a lot more money, and it was going to be USB-C. This time, you can kiss that USB-C stretch goal goodbye. But if it makes the funding, it will get printed. But that is a big if. They have not garnered a whole lot more support than the last time around. I have not seen them promoting or posting updates or doing anything to make sure this will be a success. And that to me is a little bit disappointing. You got to get out there and promote your product on the forums. Since this is based on a fantasy game, you should go to fantasy game forums and promote it. But people aren't buying it. Then there is the plugged nickel. This one's back. It's back. Bicycle plugged nickel. It's getting there. It's almost, well, it's about halfway funded already. It is halfway funded. And there is two different versions again, but fortunately the second version is not an ugly dark color like the originally. It's a lot better, in my opinion. And basically it's skeleton cowboys and barbed wire, guns and dynamite, etc., etc. And here you can see, hopefully, to some extent, the faces on the two different decks. Slightly different, but similar. Originally, they had a really dark color on the one deck and really dark color on the back design. It just looked like mud. It was not very attractive. This is much better. And you should definitely check it out. Then there is the Black Edition Refined Bicycle. That one right there. By somebody in the UK. They're almost 50% funded. Don't know if it's going to make it or not, but we'll see. Still 20 days left, basically. Then there is the Gorilla deck, which is a little bit strange. It's kind of similar to the Dinosaur deck. They basically taken more or less standard core cards. They put gorilla heads on them. And they've also put images of gorillas on the number cards, along with the pips. Currently, it's about $3,000 funded, with $10,000 for the goal. Don't know if it's going to make it, but we'll see. It's kind of a weird deck. It's not USB-C. It's going to be Expert Playing Card Company, Expert Playing Card Company printed, basically, or Legends, I think. I can't recall which one. Like I said, it's going to be Expert Card Company printed, and it's being put out by one of the Edgerly brothers, who did the other Bicycle Day of the Dead deck that was well funded, and I guess they got tired of sitting on their ass, so they decided to play around with the deck and design this. The back design, by the way, is riderback style. Don't know if you can tell, except that it has gorillas on it. Which is a little bit strange. I'm not a huge fan of it myself, but we'll see what happens. Then there's the Bicycle 100 Years War playing cards by Spade and Company. Weird name. They're almost halfway of their $20,000 goal, which is a little bit higher because it's two decks. There is a black and gold and a white and silver. I almost would have switched those. I would have made it black and silver and white and gold. It might be a little bit better, but you can see the artwork is amazing. Everything is custom. Back designs are nice. And then you got the black one. And really elegant. Everything's custom. If they hit $100,000, there'll be a new edition unlocked. But I don't even know if they're going to hit $20,000 at this rate. But I'm sure they will. Basically, it's about the 100-Year War. Which, it doesn't really tell me what the 100-Year War is. So if you don't know what the 100-Year War is, you don't know. There's a series of wars between England and France. So there's going to be kind of England and France theme to it. So that's pretty cool. I like it. But I've seen a lot of these decks that are related to wars, and they don't always do the best for some reason. I mean, just look at the global unrest and civil unrest and whatnot. They're good themes. I like them. Beautifully done. But for some reason, they don't get huge amounts of support. They get funded, but not hugely funded for some reason. Anyway. Whoops. Crap. Just bear with me a minute. I went back. And there we go. Then there is the Kalashnikov identification playing cards, which is basically this. It's playing cards. Each one has a different gun on it. Different AK-47s, basically. Looks like it's NRA sponsored or something like that. It's just bizarre. Not a huge fan of it. I cannot support guns in any way. And I don't think it's going to get funded. They're looking for $13,000. Not sure who the printer is. But they're at basically $2,500 right now. 20 days to go, basically. So, not likely going to happen. It's just too weird. Then there's that deck that Sherlock Holmes inspired called The Game Is On. That's not even a good name for a deck of cards. They should actually come up with a name instead of going The Game Is On, Sherlock Holmes based playing cards. Really? That's the best title you can come up with? Basically, it's Sherlock Holmes inspired, featuring fairy little creatures, and it's just weird and it's not doing good. Currently they're at $7,200, and you have a $20,000 goal, which is really high for a single deck of cards. 12 days left. I don't really see this one having much success. Then there's this one, the Frontier deck, which is pretty cool. I like that they got the old school bicycle logo. Basically, it's all about hunting. As you can see, there's geese and there's other animals on the court cards. The back design is pretty cool. There is a red deck and a blue deck, which is why it has a $28,000 goal, which is actually quite high for two decks of cards, but whatever. I've seen this one a couple of months ago on the forums, so I knew it was coming eventually. And I've seen that there was a brown version as well. That might be a stretch goal down the line, I guess. Which I think is really cool. The brown color would be the best out of all, in my opinion. But I like it. I like the old school box. I like the theme, for the most part. I mean, I'm not a hunter or anything like that, but it's different. And I just think the goal is a little bit high. But 31 days left, so it should get funded. Then there is the cult movie cards, which I mentioned before. At some point in time, it is funded, but I do think it might have trademark issues, especially since they're going with USB-C. USB-C might go, no, we're not printing it. We'll see. Then there's this, the bicycle flat design. Yes, I told you there's lots of new decks out there. This is inspired by the flat design that they use in smartphones and computers and stuff like that. As you can see, each suit has a different color for the faces. I would prefer the different color for the pips as opposed to the faces, and I would have preferred something other than gray for the spades when you got blue, green, and red for the other suits. Court cards are a little bit lame. Number cards are good. The back design is really colorful. Basically, it looks like what you see on the box. Which is just a bunch of colors. So far, they're at about 600 pounds and looking for 4,500 pounds. With 23 days left, I don't think it's going to happen. Then there is playing cards deconstructed, which I mentioned before. Here's the back design they're going with for now, which I think is pretty cool. Basically, it's that deck where they have elements of each court card in each pip. the Royal Pips as they call them. And they're about halfway with 8 days left, not looking good. And then there's the Glory and Honor Bicycle Playing Cards, which is all patriotic, army inspired. And 4 days left, it's not even close. They're about 1% funded. They're $1,200 out of $12,000. Not going to happen. Or is that 10%? Whatever, I don't know. It's not going to happen. Then there is a new tarot deck, in case you're interested. Ritual Abuse Tarot Deck, which is an interesting name. And it's already funded. Then there's 52 Legends, which is World Cup inspired. And it is funded. They're only looking for a few £100. Not really my cup of tea, but it's interesting in case you're interested in that sort of thing. Yay, 52 Legends. And Synthesis playing cards, which I mentioned before, not doing good. 6 days left. They're only at a couple £100, and they need £3,500. And this is the second time around for this deck, which did not do good the first time around either. And I believe that's it for decks on Kickstarter. Yay! There's like 300 decks on Kickstarter. It's ridiculous. And then there is more. USPC's got a couple of decks coming up. The Bicycle Jokers and a Bicycle Nightshade, which will be coming to Club 808 in the next couple of months, I believe. Conjuring Arts released a new deck not too long ago, which was another Owl Eyes deck. It's the, I believe, Deep Crimson or Dark Crimson, basically purple colored Owl Eyes deck. And I've also seen on bicycleplayingcardsupplies.com and on their eBay page, they are selling orange tally hose. I've seen orange circle back tally hose out on eBay before from Asia, but these guys are selling orange fan backs as well as circle backs. And if you haven't gotten them before because they were just available in the Asian market, now's your opportunity to get both of them. So I think that's pretty cool. And of course, there's all sorts of circle backs out there. There's green ones, and there's red and blue and black and light blue, and various pink ones. But usually fan backs don't have as many colors, but now they got one more. So that's pretty cool. And then there is Deck Starter. I was talking about Kickstarter alternatives. I apologize, this video is very long. There's two Kickstarter alternatives out there. The first one is deckstarter.com, which is by Dan and Dave. It's been a few months in the making. It finally went live about a week and a half ago. It had 2 decks available on 10-day campaigns, both looking for $10,000 in 10 days. Both decks were already printed and were made for a convention called How Design Live. One is the Thick Lines Edition, designed by Grappling Design, and the other one was the Poetic Typography, designed by Debbie Millman. Both are apparently well known, but I've never heard of him before in my life. Both decks were $25 each, which is very overpriced. The Thick Lines I actually don't mind. It's got a symmetrical two-way back design, some interesting colors, lots of oranges and browns and whatnot. Kind of standard number cards and chord cards, but yet slightly customized. More so than most Dan and Dave decks. And interesting jokers. They just say ha 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 on them, which is just kind of funny. I don't mind. I mean, it's $25. It's just one deck though. Shipping, as with Dan and Dave, is usually more money, but whatever. The other one I don't like. It's Poetic Typography by Debbie Millman. It basically has a bunch of words on the back design, making it a one-way and making it ugly. And there's lots of typography going on the faces. The faces are standard. They got some lame-ass cheap Ace of Spades that looks like it's from the Chinese decks, and they put A's all over it. The chord cards are standard USPC chord cards, except they put letters all over them, and it just looks ugly and stupid, and I don't like it. Somehow that one got funded, even though it was going very slowly. I have some suspicions about that funding because, like I said, a few days ago it did not look like it was going to get funded. It was nowhere near it, and now all of a sudden it got funded. After that, the fact that they had 5 rewards available for resellers, where you get 36 decks for like $500. This one, the ugly one, all sold out, all 5. The other one, the nice deck that was funded, or was going to be funded one way or the other, they still have 2 of those available. I smell something fishy with that. And I smell that and they've probably funded that one. I also think it's weird these decks are already printed and they're looking for funding, and that they're that much money. But that being said, there's only 750 that were available in these campaigns, and it's kind of a test for deck starter. But I don't know how well that deck starter is going to do. The other alternative is not available yet, but it's coming soon. It's called cardlauncher.com. It's being run by unitedcardists.com, which is a well-known forum for playing cards. And some of the shareholders I know in that include Lotrick of Half Moon Playing Cards and Lorenzo Gacciotti, who I mentioned earlier from a couple Kickstarter campaigns. And there's one more mystery shareholder. And of course there's the owners of United Cardists and his wife, Mike, and his wife. I do see a little conflict of interest. A lot of people are screaming about conflict of interest and whatnot, and I do see that. This one, they're going to be using, or encouraging the use of expert playing card company, Bill Calouse, an expert playing card company, Conjuring Arts. They're involved with it as well, and I think Jackson Robinson is involved as well. A lot of the admins from United Cardists are going to be basically admins in that website. And basically they got a bunch of designers ready to go in August when they launch with campaigns. The thing that I don't like is it's going to be PayPal only, which I can't do. So I don't know what's going to happen, but Mike has vowed to help me out some way, so I appreciate that. But I don't think it's necessary. I think it's some people who want to put their hands in other people's wallets, so to speak. We got Kickstarter already. Now there's Deck Starter. The House of Playing Cards, which failed, and to be buried because it's dead basically. And now we got this one. And I think that it may not even work because, I mean, they're going to have all these people who back these Kickstarter projects come over to a new website, which, like I was saying before my memory got full, if you can't use PayPal like myself, you're basically screwed. You won't be able to use this. And a lot of people may not want to go to a website they've never heard of before to back a project and to sign up for PayPal if they don't have PayPal. It's a whole lot of hassle, you know. And oops, they may not have enough people in the forum to financially support all these projects themselves. That being said, we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I'm not saying I don't support it. I don't think it's a good idea. I do think it's a good idea. I think it may be a little too late because we already have Kickstarter and Deck Starter and House of Playing Cards. House of Playing Cards has already basically failed, and they use Kickstarter for all their stuff anyway. And Deck Starter may not even succeed. And I mean, they only got like 100 backers for both of their decks, and we're talking about Dan and Dave fanboys, and they didn't get more support. So we'll see what happens. I do think there's a little bit of a conflict of interest where when you have creators who are owners of this website, and also when you have basically a card producer and expert playing cards that is also a part of this site. And sure, they say you can use USB-C, that's fine, but they make it 100 times easier to use expert playing card company, and they outright promote it and support it, which seems like a conflict of interest. But anyways, I've been talking for way too long. I apologize. That's what I got. I'll try to update you more often. I'll see you next time. Stay tuned for a review on this. See ya.